So let's talk about recognizing fire behavior. If I light a room on fire, or the fires occurred prior to me getting there, and I show up as an engine company, truck company, how are you recognizing the location and the severity of the fire, how far it's progressed, the direction it's going, and the decisions you're going to make without temperature? You're doing it based on this, reading smoke, reading the building. We've been taught to do that. Is that a fair statement? Okay, thank you for getting that started. You have to let it play a little while. So you're doing all of that based on your training, your knowledge, your skills and abilities, but you don't have anything that tells you what the actual temperature of the environment is other than what we said, our ears. So when I start to feel my contact points burning, would you agree that's too late? Because let's think about it. If I have, how many layers does my gear have? 3. Outer shell, moisture barrier, vapor barrier. Those sound familiar? So I got 3 layers. First one gets hot and it's saturated. The second layer gets hot, it's saturated. When the third layer is saturated, what's your warning? You have any indication prior to that it's too hot? I'm your crew leader. You're in front of me. You're on a nozzle. Who's getting more of the heat? Me or you? You. I'm scanning the thermal environment and I scan your gear. And I see yellow, which in this case would be around 500 degrees for this camera. Is that important for me to know and you to know? It is. So when you go into these environments, any way you can fast forward that? No, I'll move on. When you go into these environments, being able to diagnose the thermal severity or how hot it is and how much you're taking prevents your crew from getting burned. Now we want to save lives and property, right? That's our goal. So would it make sense to you that I'm trying to advocate that we keep the temperature in a survivable space? Okay. Now what Chief Starnes and Chief Whitlow talk about is Dr. Wright's device called the smoke blockade or the curtain. A lot of people call it different names. That is another way of decaying the fire and keeping smoke from all the different things. It's a lifesaver. What we're talking about is saving lives, yours and the people around you. All right, so I've talked to you about your air pack has a pass device. What does that pass device do? When does it go off? When you stop moving, right? For how long? How many would say, and it's a fair statement, that it's irritating? You're waiting outside, you're going to do the next assignment, and you're having to dance. But if you really needed it, it's important, right? Because it's got that annoying shrill that somebody's going to allow someone to find you. But that is an indicator when you can't help yourself. It tells someone there's a problem. When you have a thermal imaging camera and you're properly trained in it, and I stress that because most people are not, then you have a thermal pass device. You have the ability to diagnose the problem in relation to your survivability based on your gear, your training, your knowledge, and you're able to do something about it. So it needs to be a part of your personal protective equipment. Would you agree that would be a common sense thing? That my department spends X, Y, Z amount of money every year and have to buy the latest, greatest camera, and I'll leave it on the truck 3/4 of the time. That doesn't make any sense. That'd be like me buying my wife a really nice gift and we never use it. So why would you spend all that money on something and hopefully get trained on it and leave it in the truck all the time? Well, it doesn't work, or it whites out, or it's aggravating to carry. Well, air packs is aggravating to carry too, but I don't like cancer. So carry what they give you. You get off the truck or the rig, it comes with you. And here's the last one, it's the most important, which I've learned from KTF, is the fact that you need to train and train some more. And you need to read and learn more than the salesperson does. No offense to salespeople whatsoever, but if you base your knowledge and your understanding of that device or that tool off the salesperson's, very few of them will take you to the level that you need to go. Because there's the sales pitch and there's the end user. The end user has to know more about the product than the manufacturer does, because you're going to use it in ways that they probably couldn't even imagine. Okay? So not all firefighters are the same. Would you agree? I'm not. Everybody in here is different. Neither are all ticks. They're all different. If you come to my class on Friday, we'll talk more about that, but you need to understand if I buy a Honda, it's different than a Toyota. Every one of them has different features, a different language, different purposes, different functions, and they're all interpreted based on your knowledge and your skills and using them. KTF taught me that because ever so often we've used different cameras. Well, I'm used to an ISG X380 and now I've got an Argus MyTech. You know what I had to do? I had to go to Argus and I had to learn more about their cameras. You know, I learned the pros and cons of each camera, proficient in 7 different ones, because I don't know which one I'm going to be holding. And if you're not proficient at it, and you're saying, well, it says it's this, and it's not that hot, it was gray, it wasn't that hot. Well, I can show you pictures where gray is 600 degrees. Gray is not necessarily cool. So basically what I want you to get is you need to understand your interpretation of the fire behavior is based on your knowledge and your understanding of that device, along with all that training you had. Because if I hand you the latest, greatest thermal imaging camera, and I don't give you any training on it whatsoever, and you've got a lot of fire behavior training, you're still at a disadvantage. Fire behavior training is the essential part. The thermal imaging camera allows you to diagnose and enhance that training. It doesn't replace it, it doesn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And yes, technology will fail you. You need to understand its limitations along with ours and how it doesn't work in certain environments. So you need to ask yourself 2 questions. How well do you currently understand fire behavior? And if you say you know it well enough, I can tell you right now it's time to take the badge off and go home. Because anybody tells you that you know enough, I don't want to be next to them on a hose line. Because this job, you cannot learn enough, ever. Okay? So how well do you understand fire behavior? How well do you know the current tickets you have? And what are your plans to fix that? To take it 1 notch above where you are now? You're in an environment right now that has more instructors and more classes than anywhere else in the world. This week you can absorb and take back that to your people and do more with that. I challenge you to do that, whether it's KTF, whether it's whoever. Take your knowledge of fire behavior to the next level. There are several people in this room right now that will be glad to do that. Not because that's their career, not because it's their job, but because they care about it. Okay?